Hello learners, we know that Dewey Decimal Classification is devised by Melville Dewey in 1876 and it is an enumerative scheme of classification. An enumerative scheme is a scheme where all the subjects of past, present and near future are recorded in a systematic order. Dewey Decimal Classification from its very beginning is a classic example of enumerative classification scheme. But with its different edition and modification, DDC has now provided a better flexibility to the classifier. We know that there are different instruction and restriction that DDC provide to make a class number more precise and perfect. In this context, the instruction and restriction that we get from different part of the Dewey Decimal Classification, that is the tables, the entire schedule and even in the manual, are collectively known as notes. In this session, we will discuss about what the notes is, what are its different types, and with few examples from Dewey Decimal Classification, we want to comprehend the different types of notes and its uses. Notes are important because they supply information that is not obvious in the notational hierarchy or in the heading with regard to order, structure, subordination, and other matters. Notes may appear in the record for a number or a span of numbers. Notes may also appear at the beginning of a table. Individual entries in manual, we also find the notes. So, firstly, we will discuss what is notes, what are its different types, and with few examples, we want to know the uses of notes. As definition, we can say note is an instruction or definition or reference that explains the content and use of a class or the relationship of a class to other classes. Actually, it provides the definition or scope of a class, or if a class have relationship with some other classes, that also provided by notes. In DDC, we will get four types of notes. Firstly, notes that describe what is found in a class. So in a class, what are the content or the facet or the ideas that are included are described in this particular type of notes. Secondly, the including notes. It is the notes that identify topics in a standing rule. Thirdly, notes that describe what is found in other class, means it try to make a relationship between two different classes. And finally, notes that explain changes or irregularities in the schedule and tables, means the changes in a particular class or the changes of verbal extension of a class has been identified by this type of notes. So in a graphical diagram, we can understand that notes of DDC are of four types. As we had mentioned, notes that described what is found in a class, and you can notice that number 8 has been mentioned just below the subheading. This is actually the types of notes comes under the first category, notes that describe what is found in a class. The second category is including notes, or the notes that identify topics in a standing room. It is carry the number 2, means there are 2 subdivisions under this topic. So this type of notes. Thirdly, notes that describe what is found in other classes. Here we get the number 3, means there are 3 subdivisions we can found in the entire schedule and tables and even in the manual section. Finally, notes that explain changes or irregularities in the schedule and tables. There are 4 subdivisions of this category. Now, if we want to explain one by one, so first type of note was notes that describe what is found in a class. And we have mentioned that there are 8 types comes under this particular types of note. Firstly, the definition note. It indicates the meaning for term in a heading. Secondly, the scope notes. It indicates whether the meaning of a number is narrower or broader in apparent from the heading. Means it is for defining the area or the scope of a particular class. Thirdly, the number build note. Number build note says it identify and explain the source of build number included in the schedule and the table. Fourthly, the formal heading note. As the name suggests, the name of a class in a previous edition or that has been changed in this particular edition has been recorded under formal heading note. The fifth one is variant name notes. It is used for the synonymous or near synonymous term to allocate the synonymous terms. The sixth option is class year notes. My dear learners, please note this subcategory class year note, because in the entire schedule you will get plenty of examples of class year notes. It actually lists major topic under a class. Interdisciplinary work. Interdisciplinary work indicate where interdisciplinary and comprehensive work are classed. Means under a particular class there are interdisciplinary and comprehensive work has been recorded. Finally, the eighth one is comprehensive work. It treats a subject from various points of view within a single discipline. So, till now, we have subdivided the first category of notes, that is, note that describe what is found in a class. Now, with few examples, we want to elaborate our discussion. So, the first subgroup under notes that describe what is found in a class is definition note. For this, if we go the volume 2 of 23rd edition of DDC, in the page number 777, we will get 364 Criminology. If you have the schedule in your hand, then you can find 364 Criminology in page number 773. Under Criminology, you can find the definition of criminology, that is crime and its alleviation. Means here Dewey has defined the term criminology as a collection of crime and its alleviation. This is actually the definition of a particular class, and hence we call it definition note. The second one was scope note. So if you go to volume 3 of Dewey Decimal Classification and in page number 530, we will get main class 700, the arts. Under the arts, we will get a first paragraph written something like that. description, critical appraisal, technique, procedures, apparatus, equipment, materials of fine, decorative, literary, performing, and recreational art. Means all the concepts that we have mentioned here will all come under the arts. That is, description of arts, the critical appraisal of arts, the technique or procedure of arts, all comes under this particular class number. So the note defines the scope of a particular class. Next, the third one is number build note, under note that describes what is found in a class. So if we go to class number 353 in page number 663 of volume 2, we will get the 353.1, that is Public Administration of External and National Security Affairs. Under 353.1, there is 353.13, which is Foreign and Diplomatic Relation. Here you can look that two numbers 353.1 and 353.13 has been marked as with asterisks. The meaning of the asterisks you can find at the bottom of the page just before the page number. It is written that add as instructed under 352 to 354. But unfortunately, in the Foreign Service, that is recorded under 353.13273, such asterisk is absent. But on the contrary, there is a note. The note says number built according to the instruction under 352 to 354. So, without using the add notation that has been marked with the asterisks, we can use the extended subdivision of 352 to 354 for the class Foreign Service. So what is written or recorded in 352, 354? It records the specific topics under public administration. As you know, the base number of public administration is 350, and there is a detailed extended subdivision for the range of the classes 352 to 354. But it is dedicated for asterisks unless otherwise directed. But in the case we are discussing now, the Foreign Service, there is a number built note that mention the number built according to instruction under 352 to 354. So any subdivision under 352 to 354 can be added with the Foreign Service, that is 353.13273. We can add any subdivision or any extended subdivision that has been recorded in 352 to 354. The next one is subcategory 4, that is former heading notes. As we have mentioned that former heading, as the name suggests, in the previous edition the name was something different, and in the present edition the name has been changed. So the example we will get in page number 12 of volume 2 of 23rd edition of Dewey Decimal Classification. There we will get 004.1, that general works on specific types of computer, and 004.16, that is personal computer. Under personal computers, there is a record. His former heading was microcomputers. So in the previous editions, the 004.16 was recorded as microcomputers, but this particular edition, it was recorded under personal computers. It is required for old libraries where more than one editions of DDC have been procured, and at the point of time they are using the previous edition, and presently they have procured a new one. So if there is no ambiguity, that's why the latest edition have mentioned the former heading. In this particular case, in the previous editions, 004.16 was microcomputer, but in the 23rd edition, it was personal computers. The fifth one is variant name nodes. Variant name means the synonymous or near synonymous terms. So if you go to political science in page number 404, the class 3 to 4 is dedicated to the political process. Under 3 to 4.7, the entry is conduct of election campaign. Under election campaigns, the variant name is practical politics. Means the election campaigns and practical politics are synonymous or near synonymous terms that has been mentioned. So if you get a title under practical politics, the number will be same as the conduct of election campaign. Next part is variant name rules. Variant name means the different name that comes under a particular class or section. If you go to page number 455 of volume 2, we will get 332.32, that is savings and loan association. Under the heading, the variant names are recorded as building and loan associations, building societies, home loan association, mortgage institution, etc. So these are the kind of variant name nodes that appear in the Dewey Decimal Classification, and the example we will get under 332.32. The sixth type is class A node. As we have mentioned, that class A node is very important because it defines different classes under a broad or synonymous class. As for example, in 404, page 404, we'll get 3 to 4 political process, where we get a class A node. It was recorded class A elections. So with the subject of election will come under 3 to 4, that is the political process. The same example you will get in 331 labor economics, where it is recorded class A industrial relations, interdisciplinary works on labor. The labor economics is recorded in page number 421 of volume 2. And again in 364 criminology, that is under 773. So criminology has two types of nodes. One is that we have mentioned in the first case, the definition node, as well as the class A node. The 364 criminology is recorded as class A comprehensive works on criminology, criminal law, or criminal justice that includes criminology, political process, and criminal law. So 364 has two nodes. One is definition nodes, where we get crime and its alleviation, and class A nodes in a one class, that is 364. The seventh one is interdisciplinary work. If you go to 391, class 391, that is available in page number 907 of volume 2, we will get costume and personal appearance. The note is something like that class A interdisciplinary work on costume, clothing, fashion, casual wear, all comes under the class 391, costume and personal appearance. The final one of this group is comprehensive work. The comprehensive work clearly mention that on a particular, under a particular class, all the categories or the facet related to this particular heading come under the class where the comprehensive work node is available. So if we go to page number 367 of volume 3, the 641.8, that is cooking specific kinds of dishes and preparing beverage. 641.81 is side dishes, sauces, garnishes. 641.815 is bread and bread-like food. Here, the comprehensive works note is recorded as class year yeast breads. So, here is a class year note as well as comprehensive works on baked food. Means all the work that is associated with baked good will come under bread and bread-like food. That is under 641.815. This class you will get in page number 367 of volume 3 DDC 23rd edition. Second category, as we got in the table, that including notes. Including notes means note that identify topics in a standing room. There are two subcategories. One is one including notes and another is two including notes. One including notes contain the only one instruction, whereas the two including note contains two instructions, as the name suggests. So, if we concentrate on one including note, it is standing room numbers provide a location topic with relatively few works written about them, but whose literature may grow in the future, at which time they may assign their own number. On the contrary, two including notes says entries in taxonomic schedule in 579 to 590, that is biology, different classes of biology, may have two including notes. The first including note contains the scientific taxonomies. The first including notes contain the scientific taxonomic name or the above level of the family. The second one contains the common and genus names. It is for the ease of the classifier because all the classifiers are not from the biological science domain. So, if a layman who have not studied biology can classify a book on biology, that's why the taxonomic name as well as the common name has been provided with the two including notes. So, if we go for example of single including notes, we have to go page number 727 of volume 2, where we will get 362, that is social problem and services of group of people. Under it, 362.1, people with physical illness. And finally, 362.16, extended medical care facility, where it is recorded including convalescent home, sanatorium for people suffering from chronic diseases. Sanatorium or such kind of room we have already heard during the period of COVID. So this is one including note under that we will get under 362.16. And if we get or try to find the double including note, we have to go any example from 57 to 59. So, in page number 1231 of volume 2, we will get 593, that miscellaneous marine and seashore invertebrates. Under it, we will get 593.55, that is hydrozoa. Here, as we mentioned, there are two including notes. The first one is Chronodorpha, Hydroria, and so on. These are their taxonomic name. And the second one is including hydras, Portuguese man of war. These are the common name of the class Hydrozoa. Now, the time comes to start the third category of different types of notes. The third one is notes that describe what is found in other classes. Means if we want to find a class and assume that particular subject will be recorded in that particular class number, then if it is not, then the schedule will instruct you that class may be somewhere else, or you may have to redirect in some different classes. So there are actually three subcategories. One is classifier node, which tells us the lead the classifier to interrelated topics or distinguish among number in the same notational hierarchy. The second one is C references, indicate where the meaning of the number is narrower or broader than is apparent from the heading. Means when the scope of the subject is misleading, then we may find the C reference node. And finally, the C also reference lead the classifier to the related topics so that we can understand between or tally between the two class number and finally choose our own. So if we try to find the example for class AR nodes, so if we find the example for class elsewhere nodes, we have to go page number 806 of volume 2. There we will get education 370. And under it, 370.1 is philosophy and theory, education for specific objectives, educational psychology, etc. Under it, 370.15 is educational psychology. Here it is mentioned that class interdisciplinary work in psychology in 150. So here, if we want to find a number of psychology under educational psychology, then it will tell us that comprehensive or interdisciplinary work on psychology is in 150. So under educational psychology, the interdisciplinary work should not be done. The second case is C references. C references will redirect you to another class number. So if you go to the page number 1178 of volume 2, we will get 570 biology, then 577 ecology, and 577.7 is marine ecology. Under marine ecology, there is C reference. For Salt Lake ecology, C577.639 means it tells that for Salt Lake ecology, you should not use the class number for marine ecology. Though the marine water is saline in nature, but it is the sea, and for Salt Lake ecology, you have to go 577.639. Again, for saltwater, wetland and seashore ecology, you have to go 577.69. These are not under marine ecology. So if you classify a book on saltwater, wetland or seashore ecology under 577.7, it will be wrong. The actual number will be 577.69. That our class number here already mentioned. The final one of this category is C also reference. So C also reference, if we move to page number 1214, then we will get 580 plants or the subject botany. Under 580, the 584 and 584.3 Liliaceae, the class here Lilialis, lilies, etc. This is a class here note. Again, for Orchidalis, this is a C reference note. It tells us that it will be found in 584.4. And finally, and C also note, that is for water lilies, we have to go 583.29. So again, the particular class 584.3, there we can experience three types of node. One is class A node, another is CO node, and finally the C also node. So these are the three types of category 3. And finally, The fourth type, it warns that there have been changes in the subdivisions of a class since the previous edition. Second one is discontinued nodes. It indicates that all the parts of the contents of a number have been moved to a more general number in the same hierarchy or have been dropped entirely. The third one is reallocation node. As the name suggests, it states that all the parts of the content of a number have been removed from a different number. And finally, do not use node. It instructs the classifier not to use all or part of the regular standard subdivision, but instead to use a special provision or standard subdivision notation at a broader number. So, if we concentrate on some example, the first subheading will be division nodes. So, if we go to volume 3 of Dewey Decimal Classification and go to page number 646, we will get 777 cinematography and videography. In this particular class, the note section reads as this schedule, which replaces that formerly appearing at 778.5 is new. Means in the previous edition, the cinematography and videography was in 778.5. A comparative table of these changes giving the both old and new numbers are given in the tables showing the number of the old and new schedule. The second one is discontinued nodes. In different parts of the schedule, you will get few numbers that is assigned between two third brackets. It means do not use the number, it has been removed or discontinued or reallocated. Such example you can find in the page number 63 of volume 2, where the two numbers 025.393 that is recataloguing and 025.396 that is reclassification have been discontinued and assigned to a new class in a broader class that is 025.39. So for recataloguing or reclassification or the numbers that is recorded under third bracket and have not the number discontinued, we should not use those numbers, rather we have to find the number elsewhere, generally in the broader area. The third one is reallocation nodes. The reallocation nodes we will find the example of reallocation nodes in page number 63 under 0 to 5, that is operations of libraries, archives and information centers. Under it, 0 to 5.4 is subject analysis and control. And finally, 0 to 5.4028, that is auxiliary techniques and procedure, apparatus, equipments, and material. Here, the note is abstracting reallocated to 0 to 5.41. Means in an earlier edition, the abstracting was also in this particular class number. But in the present edition, the abstracting is reallocated to a broader number. You can see that 0 to 5.41 is a broader number than 0 to 5.4028. The final one is do not use node. The same is available under 0 to 5, that is in the page number 68, 0 to 5.306, that is organization. Under it, 0 to 5.3068, it comes within third bracket. As we know that under third bracket, we should not use that particular number. And again, there is a note, do not use class in 0 to 5.19. And again, you can experience that the management of libraries, archives, and information center devoted to a specific subject has been reallocated to a broader number. So these are the different types of note that we can find in the entire schedule and the tables of Dewey Decimal Classification, and as well as a manual. If you go to the manual section of volume 1, then more elaborate explanation of such notes and examples you can get from there. So happy reading and thank you.